Hello, my friends. Today I'm going to talk about quite a few different topics. Topics of the world, really, to start out with, because let me explain to you kind of what all of the people who are in the world are going through their period of. It's a period of denial for those who stand on the right side, and it's a period of pushing for those who stand on the left because the right has collapsed. It's fallen down. It's taken a knee. It's in denial of its actual situation. Because of that, the left is like a shark in a tank filled with blood. It's swarming, and it knows that it has control over the right. It has power over the right because it has all of the institutions that the right cares about, because they care about what people think of them and how people view them and how everything is against them. They always understand that whenever the left plays a victim, that they're playing a victim and they can call that out, but they don't understand that they themselves play the same victim, just in a different way, in a weak way. So you have all these comments about Trump, and this is what I'm gonna show you the parallel of this in a parable that Jesus spoke. I'm gonna show you the parallel of what he is saying. They're saying, everywhere he's escalating attacks, he's raising specter of violence. He said essentially, what was the quote here? He says, destruction and death are possibly coming if he goes into prison. What he meant by that, I don't exactly know. I don't know if he means that if they're taking him to prison, then he thinks people are going to come up and they're going to fight for him while he's in there, or if he's giving a literal interpretation of what's going to happen to America if we've fallen to the point where we are unlawfully charging somebody based upon the precedence of our system, creating crimes to political opponents. If we do those kinds of things, we understand what happens to that nation on a world scale, because that's what we've been dealing with for the past 100 years. And to me, I look at it as more of a prophetic kind of warning, because everything that he was saying would happen if he was not put back into office. As far as the economy that would tank, the wars that would break out, the struggles that would come upon the American people, the rights being taken away from those who are doing what is good. Everything that he said would happen has happened since the king was given his crown, January 20th, 21. All those things have come true, and this I can look at as a prophetic understanding that he's saying, if we as a country do this to him, then death and destruction is coming to us. We're going down to our destruction, because any nation that does that has no strength, no power left in them. They're weak. And other nations will take advantage of that weakness, such as what we see happening in the world. That's how I see this. That's the understanding that I understand of it. But it's amazing to me to then listen to what the people on the right come out and say. And this is why whenever you're speaking about the world, you have to understand that all of the world comes from a position of fear. There is fear living in the world. They have no hope. There's no way out of it. All they know is fear. And the devil gives them that fear and provides them more fear than they can handle, to the point that they explode. From the world's perspective, you have to look at everything with eyes of fear to understand why they do what they do. So you even have people now like Alex Jones, who've been a big supporter of Trump throughout the years, criticize him when they felt to criticize him, and so on and so forth. But he's saying, no, this is crazy. You got to stand down. This is not the right way to go about this, so on and so forth. So he's criticizing Trump for this comment whenever he doesn't really know the context of the comment, such as I've explained it. He only understands it from the fear perspective of the world. So you have someone, and I use Alex Jones as this example because you understand who he is and what he is. You understand what he's doing. He is the first person to call the mainstream media liars, the first person to talk about how they're doing and setting up all the patriots in the world. They're doing these terrible things to all of them and all these kind of things. But whenever it comes time to really go out there and stand with somebody for principle, he's the first person to fade away and care about what those people then think of him. So he's saying, these people are destroying you, but we got to just go along with it. We can't stand up to them. What are you, crazy? They're going to call us terrorists. they're already doing that. They're already setting the people up on the right. They're already doing all these things. And whenever the time comes to stand, they all fall because they think, well, I still got my money, I still got my possessions, I still got my fame. I don't want to lose those things. That's too great of a cost. I can't do it. Let's just back down and keep doing exactly what we're doing, because if we don't, they're going to call us names and they're going to set us up for crimes. They are already doing that. And that's the part that they can't get because they're living in comfort still. God has not yet taken away all the comfort of these kinds. They're still living in it, so they can't understand that they're already in the midst of a trap. This is a good example of this to understand in the world. You have, and it's been well documented, somebody that is in the process of being abducted. If they get into that car, 99% of the time, something really bad is going to end up happening to them. They're either going to get, raped, murdered, whatever the case is. Something really, really bad is going to happen to that person if they willingly get into the car and they're led away from where they were abducted. That the numbers of heinous things that comes from that, it's unbelievable. But if somebody is in the process of being abducted and they fight back, they kick and scream, they yell, they claw, they punch, they do whatever they've got to do in that moment, they don't get in that car, the chances are very good that they're going to survive that encounter and live to tell the story about it. But not the other way, not when you get in the car. So you have to fight back before you've been abducted. You got to fight back in the time you're being abducted. But what all these ones do is essentially tell you, go ahead, get in the car and go for the drive. It'll be okay. We'll get out of this. That's exactly what they're doing. That's how God lays a trap on all of those who don't know him. He lays them in that trap. They go along the car ride for the journey thinking, well, it's going to be okay. Maybe they'll just, abuse me or steal from me a little bit, but it'll be okay. They're going to let me go and I'm going to be fine. But no, that's not how that ends up in most of the cases. And the world understands that. That's why they tell you, fight back, fight back. Don't ever let somebody put you in the car. We're already in the car going for the drive. You either fight back now or the next thing you got is a shovel in the back of your head. That's what the world is in. That right now is the position that freedom is in this world, because God is beginning to peel all of it away and take it all away because we have not desired that freedom. We did not want to stand for it because we have our possessions and our comfort, and we don't want to lose that. We can't risk that. Whenever somebody that's in the position that we are in the world, we've already lost that. There's nothing to lose at this point, but yet to them, because they don't know God, they don't understand their situation, they're going right into the trap head first. So the parable that Jesus spoke in Matthew 22, and this is very interesting because you have Trump saying these things right now about, if they lock me up, death and destruction is coming. He's essentially said last week, go out and protest. He's telling people to stand, and nobody is standing. Whether you agree with him or not, that's not even the case. Look at what he's saying, and look at what he's asking, and look at what people are doing. People are doing nothing, just like people didn't do anything in January of 2021. They let, according to understanding, they let all the events that happened play out without a fight because they were so scared of what people were going to call them, or scared to go to prison, or scared of this, scared of that. Fear is driving all of them, so none of them can stand because of that fear. It is the devil trampling over the people, putting them in fear and bondage, so much that they cannot act. They're paralyzed by it. They go right ahead and get in the car and let everything happen, thinking it's going to turn out okay, when that car ride is the trap. So this parable of the king, Jesus spoke to them again in parables, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a king who prepared a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his servants to those who had been invited to the banquet to tell them to come, but they refused to come. Now picture Trump making a call. He's saying, come do this, come do this. And now nobody is doing it because they're all saying, well, it's just a big setup, or they're going to call us names, or they're going to put us in jail. It's all set up, and nobody is standing. He's saying to come, and nobody is coming. Then he sent more servants and said, tell those who have been invited that I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and fattened calf have been butchered and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet. But they paid no attention and went off, one to his field, another to his business, And the rest seized the servants, mistreated them, and killed them, and the king was enraged. So he sent his army and destroyed those murderers and burned the city. This is essentially what we're talking about here. Nobody is listening to that king to act. So what's the first thing that happens? All of these same people are going to be seized, mistreated, and killed. And that's the Great Tribulations. That's the trap that they're all going into, and I'll explain why. Because they're neither hot nor cold. They're neither in God and neither in the world. You have to pick a side. You can't just walk and try to ride the fence the whole way through. You have to pick a side. The left has picked a side. They're politically left. They've got power. They've picked their side, and they're ready to die for that side. So that's why they have the power. You see, Jesus came with the word. He came as a servant. He came as lowly. He came to speak and change the hearts of people. But that is not how the world operates. The world operates by force, by power. And if you let them take your force and your power, you have nothing unless you have God. But they don't have God either, because they have their money and they have their comfort and they have their ministries and they have their businesses. And it's still going okay for us. It's not going to get too bad. When they're already in the midst of the trap, they're already in the car being abducted. So that's the end result that's going to happen to them. Then he said to his servants, the wedding banquet is ready, but those I invited did not deserve to come. So go to the street corners and invite to the banquet anyone you find. So the servants went into the streets and gathered all the people they could find, and the bad as well as the good, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man there who was not wearing wedding clothes, and he asked, how did you get in here without wedding clothes, friend? And the man was speechless. So you have to understand in this case, hold on, I'll finish it. Then the king told the attendants, tie his hand and foot and throw him outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of the teeth. For many invited, but few are chosen. This is a parallel event that's happening right now in the world with Trump and what he's doing, what the scriptures, what this parable is speaking about, and how people don't realize they're in the midst of a trap. And that now is the time to fight if you love the world, because if you don't, they're going to take you by force and throw you into prison. They're going to kill you. They're going to take everything that you have. All your comfort, it's gone away anyway. It's already gone away. You just haven't realized it. So if you love the world, now's the time to fight for it. And likewise, those who love God know that their place is not in this world. So they know how to fight their battle as well. It's through prayer. It's through understanding. It's through realizing. It's through guiding those who are blind into the light, and saying that all of these things that are happening in the world are secondary to Jesus Christ is coming back. But no, because of the businesses, the love of money, the drive of money, the comfort of money, the comfort of worldly possessions, the comfort of worldly peace that isn't true peace, all these things keep those people from coming to the banquet, whether it be a Christian minister who's calling themselves that, or whether it be somebody of the world who is walking on the right side of the left or the right, telling you to prep because everything's going to hell, but let's not do anything either when we're called to do anything. Let's just stay here. Excuse me. It's one and the same person. They're exactly the same. One of them has some form of godliness by their words, but their deeds don't show that. The other one is doing things that are contrary to the words, but again, they're not against God either. They're not speaking the word, but they're not against it. But both are in the same pit. It's the blind leading the blind. And let me tell you that those people of the world who are telling you that they know what's going on, they'll always give themselves names such as Master of the Light, or Vision to See, or I'm Wide Awake 2018. Who knows? You know these people. You know what I'm saying? They give themselves names like they're awake when they're completely blind and asleep and pitiful and naked. They front that they know what's going on. They do that out of fear, not out of understanding. I'm telling you something out of understanding because it was given to me of God. They have fear, as those who know the Lord have understanding. And we don't fear the world, we understand the world, but that's all they can fear because they don't have the fear of God in them. One either is going to fear God or fear the world. And they all fear the world. They put up the front that they have knowledge and understanding, and thus they lead those who have less understanding than them right into the pit with them. It's called the Church of Laodicea. And the church of the angel of Laodicea write, "These are the words of the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the ruler of God's creation. I know your deeds. You're neither hot nor cold." It means you sit on a fence. "I wish you were one or the other, so that because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth." And this is what they all say. "I am rich, I have acquired wealth, and do not need a thing. But you do not realize that you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. I counsel from you to buy gold from me refined in fire, so that you can become rich, and white clothes to wear, so that you can go to that banquet that I just described of Matthew 22, so that you can cover your shameful nakedness and put salve on your eyes so you can see." But they don't. They won't. They refuse, because of the fear of the world that has overcome them all, because of the love of money and believing that it is able to protect and keep you safe, because of the love of things in the world. They don't counsel God's gold, they counsel the gold of the earth. It's going to be melted into atomic state and broken down before this whole thing is said and done. They love that. They love their buildings, they love their altars, but they've neglected the temple that is inside of their own body. And even then, "To whom I love, I rebuke and discipline. So be earnest and repent. Here I am, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice, the door opens. I will come with that person and they with me, to the one who is victorious." Meaning that even those who sit on a fence right now, one or two of them will understand and see that they have been deceived. Everything they say is going to happen has already happened, and they will come out of her. But it will be few and far between, because of the fear of the world and the love of the stuff in the world, the love of money. And you want to understand how far money has taken over the church and the people of the country. This is how far the extent that it is. Do you understand that we wear t-shirts and jackets and these kind of things, and they all got logos on them and names? You understand that we're a walking advertisement to corporations already. We're already at the behest of corporations, and we buy these things as an advertisement of their product, and other people go buy, "Oh, that Nike jacket looks good, I'm going to go buy one too." We're a walking advertisement as it is. And these people think, well, you know what? I'm just going to go along with this, and I'm going to give my truth to the people, and we're going to see if people follow me, and they're going to keep donating to me, and I'm going to keep giving them these sermons that are helpful. They're going to keep giving me money, and at least I'm going to have some protection. At least I'm going to be blessed somewhat. Here's what that is. Do you know why ministries start out as close to the truth as they can be in their understanding at that time? They'll start out good, and then before you know it, they're selling coffee and t-shirts, and they're telling you about their sponsor and their advertising. Do you know why it starts out good and ends up bad? Here's why. When you decide that you're going to go speak the things of God in ministry, what God has given you, you're going to go out there and proclaim it to the world. The very first thing that comes to you next is temptation. Because you put yourself then on a lofty position, don't you? And I've done it. I've been through this. That's why I can speak of it. Anybody that knows God puts themselves in the loftiest positions, like we know everything in the world because we know God. All of a sudden, we go from nothing to having all this knowledge. We can't wait to share it because we truly are touched by God. We can't, even if we were stones, we would speak it out. We have no choice. But the very next thing that comes is temptation from that. You're put on a lofty palace, and anybody that's lofty, there's Satan coming directly to them. The watchmen, you know why they call themselves watchmen? They put themselves above other people. They're up in a tower as watchmen. Who's the first one that comes to them? Satan, to tempt them. How do we know this? Because it happened to Jesus. Where did Satan take Jesus? Up on the highest of mountains and show the whole world to him and say, "All of this I will give you if you go down and worship me." They give this same thing. Satan does the same thing to every single minister of God that ever stands up to proclaim anything that they've known of him. He comes and tempts them with the things of the world. And you know what this church has done? They've loved it. They've fallen right into the temptation. Yes, I want to profit off it. Give me more donations. Give me more advertisements. Give me more stuff. Buy my coffee. Buy my t-shirts. Go out and invest in the gold that I'm getting paid 30% on. Meanwhile, everything that you buy from them, YouTube's taking 30% of it. Their sponsors are taking 30% of it. They are providing their money to the beast, and they love the beast because right now the beast is letting them do that. The beast is allowing them to walk in two different worlds. You can talk about God as long as you profit off it. The beast is still getting their money. But Revelation 13 comes. The day comes where the beast no longer is willing to let you make that living. When the abductor stops the car that you went into willingly, gets you out, and has you dig a hole to put yourself inside of. That's what's coming next. And all of these things are because people refuse to believe the truth. That you can't have both. You have to pick a side. It's either God or it's the world. You can't have both. You can't straddle a fence. You can't love money and God at the same time. You can't love stuff and God at the same time. You got to be willing to pick a side. And no one in this world, because of fear, is able to pick the correct side other than those that have truly been refined of the Lord at this point. And that's why I don't know how many of these videos I'm even going to continue to put out, because I don't feel that it's helping anybody. I feel like it's time to be on the ark already. I feel like anybody that's listening to me here already understands what I'm saying, so there's no point to that. We just put our heads down and maintain our lives until he gets here, because he will take those who are prepared for him. And I feel like we're to that preparedness. I feel like everything that I'm saying to you now is nothing new. It's nothing you don't already know. But for all of those other ones, they won't change because they refuse to love the truth. They won't see it. And I feel like we're watching these parallel events happen right now in the world because of this very reason, that God is showing the hypocrisy of all of these people that we've been led to believe have some form of truth, that they don't know God at all. One last thing here that I'll end up with, and I was doing a cash office at my job here, and I noticed this quarter. This is the 2023 quarter, and if you kind of turn it upside down, this is the George Washington quarter. You turn it upside down, you can see immediately on the quarter that it was changed. They changed his hair. But look what I've circled right here. They've literally put a snake, a serpent, in George Washington's hair. Just interesting to me. That shows you that in 2023, who this kingdom has been turned over to. Which the dragon is the one that comes in to take over. It's China. It's that whole one world system. That's Revelation 13. They're the one that does that. And who is it that they overrun? All of those people right now who refuse to stand up for what is right. They go right into the car to be abducted. All of these ones go down because the world already hates them because they have some form of knowledge of God in them. The world will never accept them no matter what they do. So they don't have that going for them. But they also don't know God. They don't truly believe in God, so they don't have that going for them either. They have nothing who are lukewarm. They're neither hot nor cold. They're spit out. They go into great tribulations. That is the second Holocaust, and it's coming. God bless.